The year was 2004, and I was 34 years old. My life wasn't perfect, but it was mine. A modest three-bedroom house on the edge of Dayton, Ohio, 3 kids I loved more than life itself, and a wife I thought I'd grow old with. I remember the day vividly, because even though the calendar says it's been more than 2 decades, the memory is sharp enough to cut me open. It was a Friday evening. I just finished my shift at the garage and picked up a second round of deliveries for extra cash. By the time I got home, the sky was fading into winter darkness. The front porch light was on, something Claire usually forgot. Inside, the living room smelled faintly of her perfume, that flowery scent I used to bury my face in. But what caught my attention first wasn't the smell, it was the look on my kids' faces. Emily, 10 years old and already too perceptive for her age, was holding Sophie, who was 4, her little face blotchy from crying. Josh, 7, sat stiff on the couch, his jaw set like a soldier. "Dad," Emily's voice cracked. Before I could answer, I heard movement behind me. Claire stood in the hallway, coat on, a small suitcase by her side. She wasn't crying. Her face was pale, composed, and cold. "I'm sorry, Daniel," she said flatly. "I can't do this anymore. I've met someone." I felt my stomach drop. "What do you mean you've met someone?" Her eyes darted away. "Brian. From work. We've been seeing each other for months. He can give me the life I want. I can't stay here anymore." "You're leaving them?" My voice rose, cracking on a word them. "I'm leaving this life," she said, as if that explained it. I told her to think of the kids. She bent down, kissed Sophie's head, hugged Josh quickly, and placed her hands on Emily's shoulders. Emily pulled away, and then she walked out. No long goodbye. No turning back. The first night, Sophie cried until she fell asleep in my bed, clutching her stuffed rabbit. Josh refused to talk, just lay in bed staring at the ceiling. Emily stayed awake reading, her little body tense, as though she thought if she kept her eyes open long enough, her mom might come back. Over the next weeks, Claire sent a couple of postcards. They had pictures of beaches or city skylines. No return address, just a few lines of empty words. "Hope you're doing well. Love, Mom." By month 6, they stopped coming. Money was tight. I was a mechanic by day and ran deliveries for a local restaurant by night. Dinner was often boxed mac and cheese or peanut butter sandwiches. I learned how to braid Sophie's hair badly, how to coach Josh's little league team, how to sit with Emily at the kitchen table while she did homework and I balanced the checkbook. There were nights I'd lock myself in the bathroom and cry silently because I couldn't let them see me break. Years passed. Emily graduated high school with honors and went to nursing school. Josh joined the Army at 18, serving overseas before becoming a firefighter. Sophie, my baby, won a scholarship to a university 3 states away. They each carried scars from her absence, though they didn't talk about it much. Emily had trust issues in relationships. Josh hated liars with a venom I sometimes didn't recognize in him. Sophie became fiercely independent, refusing help even when she needed it. We built our own traditions: Christmas movie marathons, pancake Sundays, backyard camping in the summer. My sister, Linda, was a huge help, stepping in for school pickups or doctor visits when I couldn't make it. Claire never called, never visited, never sent a card on their birthdays. It was as if she'd been swallowed by the earth. It was last winter when it happened. I was 55. Sophie, now 25, had moved back home for a few months while she hunted for a better job. Emily was married and living nearby. Josh was about 40 minutes away. It was a Saturday morning, snow dusting the driveway. I was in my recliner with a mug of coffee when I heard a knock at the door. I wasn't expecting anyone. When I opened it, the cold air rushed in, along with the shock. Claire. Her hair was streaked with gray, her face lined, but her eyes were unmistakable. She looked smaller somehow, hunched under the weight of something heavy. "Hi, Daniel," she said quietly. "It's been a long time." I didn't answer. Behind me, I heard Sophie's footsteps. She froze when she saw her. Her voice was barely above a whisper. "Mom?" Claire's lips trembled. "Yes, honey, it's me." Sophie didn't move closer. I let her in because I didn't want the neighbors watching, but I didn't offer her coffee. She sat at the edge of the couch like she was afraid of sinking in too deep. Her hands twisted together. I made mistakes, she began. I thought I was chasing happiness, but Brian, he left me years ago. I've been alone since. I wanted to come back, to see you all. To what? Emily's voice cut through the room like a blade. She had arrived with Josh after I called them. To be part of your lives again, Claire said, looking at each of them. Josh laughed, but it was cold. You mean the lives you walked out on? Tears slid down her cheeks. I know I don't deserve it, but I was hoping for forgiveness. Emily leaned forward, her tone steady but full of pain. You missed every milestone, every birthday, every moment when we needed a mom. I had to be that for Sophie when I was still a kid myself. You don't just get to waltz back in and call yourself family. Josh's hands were fists on his knees. Do you know what it was like watching Dad work himself to death so we didn't end up on the street? Or wondering if you ever even thought about us? Sophie, who had been silent, finally spoke. Her voice shook. I used to dream you'd show up at my school plays. I used to stare at the door, thinking you'd come back. But you never did. I stopped waiting. I stopped wanting. Claire sobbed openly now. I can't change the past, but maybe we can start again. No, I said, my voice firm. You made your choice 21 years ago. We built our lives without you, and we're not breaking them apart to make room for someone who abandoned us. Claire's eyes searched mine for any crack, any sign I might let her stay. But the man who once begged her to stay was gone. You should go, I said. She stood slowly, nodded, and walked to the door. Before stepping out, she looked back one last time, her face pale and desperate. Then she was gone, down the icy driveway, disappearing into the falling snow. That night, the four of us, me, Emily, Josh, and Sophie, had dinner together. We didn't talk much about what happened, but there was an unspoken understanding. We were enough. Family isn't defined by who shares your blood. It's defined by who stays. And we had stayed for each other. Always.